So we're going to get the zips ready now, and this is the continuous zipping, and you buy the heads separately, and I'm going to show you how to put one on. So first of all, just cut the end so it's a clean end and open up the zip, and then put one side of the zip on pointing downwards like that, and then push the other end in to the same point, and then sort of push you can push the zip head on, pushing the two ends through at the same time. Hopefully it'll catch. It didn't that time. Try again. I'll just cut it again. It's all about lining them up really, so that they're exactly in the same place. There we go. And it's gone on. And then you can open up the zip below it and just cut off as long as you like. So I've put 4 heads on, as you can see, and I can just move them along and then just cut the length of zip that I want according to my cushion cover, and then open up the end above the zip head, and just cut it off like that. So I'm going to make it longer than the edge of the cushion. So probably it's going to be about 21 inches long. So I've laid my zip on one side of my cushion cover, and I'm just going to cut off quite a lot extra, so I've got a bit to play with. So it's a good couple of inches longer than what it's going to go on to. Now, zips in cushion covers go on backwards. They don't go on in the same way that we put zips into dresses. So what you need to do, first of all, get the cushion cover and have it the right way up. So this is the top of the cushion cover. I want my zip to be in the bottom, so always check that first, because you don't want the zip to be at the side or the top. And then just offer your zip up to the piece of material, and then flip it over like that, so that the top edge is now the edge that you're going to pin against the piping, like that. And then it's always good to put, with continuous zipping, to put a pin in the end so you don't lose the zip head. Open up the zip, and it's that lower edge, this lower edge, that you're going to pin really close to the piping, almost so it's sitting a little bit proud, sitting up a little bit onto the piping, because you don't want to really see the zip, so we're going to really tuck it behind that piping if we can. So get pinned as close as you can. Quite thick at this stage. So you can see I've got it really close to the piping. The teeth are right butted up against. And then close your zip, which you'll probably still be able to do even with the pins in. Don't pull the head off, don't pull it right the way along. And then get your backing, in this case it's the floral. Again, make sure you've got it the right way up. You know, that's the top, the flowers are going upwards. And then flip it over onto your other side, and that will show you where to pin the next one. So just line it up all the way around with your other piece, and then just get one pin in. Doesn't matter where. I've just put one there. Then you can open the zip back up, and that one pin is holding the zip on, and you can now just pin the rest. So that I've got one pin in there that I pinned in earlier. That's just telling me where I've got to pin it, where I've got to fix it, and then I can put the rest of the pins in just along near the edge of the zip tee. And again, the zip is backwards if you like, it's upside down. So pin all the way across, and this is why you need a bit extra, because you'll be able to pin it all the way Whereas if you've got a zip that's only just the right length, obviously you don't have this extra. It makes life a lot easier when you're sewing it in. So now we're going to go to the sewing machine and sew this zip in with a zipper foot. And we're going to do that on all 4 cushions on both sides. And then really all we've got to do is sew up the other sides afterwards, so it's nearly finished. Anyway, we'll move to the sewing machine next. So your zipper foot will look like this, which is a standard universal zipper foot, and there's a bar across there and 2 sides that you can clip it on, so that you're either on the left of the zip or the right of the zip. So drop your other foot off by the lever at the back, drops the foot off the pressure foot, and then lower it down. Work out which side you need to be of the zip. So I need my foot to be over to the right. So I'm going to put it on the left hand bar so that it's as far over as possible. There we go. So the edge of that foot is going to run along the teeth of the zip, but often the needle is still a little bit too far away from the zip teeth. So this is when you can use your zigzag width dial, or button in this case, to move the needle further over towards the left. Now if you have a dial, you just turn the dial on your zigzag width and it will move the button. It will move the needle both ways normally, or maybe just to the left. But with this I've just got a button, so if I go to my zigzag button and just press it, the needle clicks across and I can get it much closer to the zip, which is much better because I don't want to have too much of a lip between the teeth and where it's sewn. So that's a really good place now. So I'm just going to start sewing. Oh, wrong machine. Just going to reverse at the beginning, all the way down. Keep your finger on the zip just to stop it moving when you take the pins out. And with this side I can go all the way down right to the edge. Just reverse there. So that's one side, and then I'm going to go to the side where the piping is. Now obviously the piping's there too, so it's a little bit trickier. You've got to get that bar running along the edge of the teeth zip again, but it's the same process. Just going to reverse. My pins are the wrong way around, and I'm going to hold that zip while I go along, and I'm keeping the zip sticking up a little bit onto the piping so that I haven't got much gap between the piping cord and where the zip is sewn on. If you sew it too far back, you get a horrible gap that you can see when your cushion's done up. It's not as nice. So I'm keeping it as close as I can, almost, like I say, a little bit up onto the edge of the piping. And again, because we've got a longer zip, we can go right up to the end and just reverse them. So you can see that zip is really close. So there's no gap between where there's, well, hardly anything, a little tiny gap between where the piping's sewn on and where the zip is sewn on. And when you do the zip up, it should be pretty much hidden. Again, don't pull it if you've got continuous zipping right off, otherwise you're going to have to get the head back on. And you can see that the piping is going to hide the zip because I've got it nicely tucked behind. I'm just going to press that one side first now, just to make a little bit of a lip there to butt up against the piping. And then we're going to sew around the other 3 sides. Now we've just got to sew around the other 3 sides, but we want to sew a little bit of this corner of each side of the zip, and we want to get above the piping but below the zip. So there's a little place in between the zip and the piping, and if you can get your push the zip out the way and get your pin in between that place. So you haven't pinned the zip, but you've got above the piping cord. And the same on the other side. Undo your zip a little bit, otherwise you'll never get into your cushion afterwards. So push the 2 edges of the zip up and just get above that piping cord but below the zip. Just put a pin there and a pin there, and then pin the rest around. Probably easier to do this on a larger table, but I'm going to have to sew it in a minute, so I'm just going to pin it here. And this time we need the piping foot again in order to put this, in order to do this sewing. So I'm going to drop the zip foot off and put the piping foot back on. Okay, so start at one of those pins on the zip edge and lift your pressure foot up high. It goes up as well as down. So if you lift it up like that, it goes higher, and this will help you get it in and position it onto the piping. This time you can't see the piping, so you have to kind of feel it with your finger. Put the piping foot down so it's in that left hand channel. Remember to get your needle back to its default position if you moved it to put the zip in. Get it back into its normal place, which is in the middle. Put your needle down and it will find its place where you pinned it, which is above the piping and below the zip. And then just go along there and reverse a few, go to the corner. You can see actually where you stitched before, so that's helpful. Stop at the corner, lift and turn, making sure that your piping is still in that left hand groove. You can kind of feel it. The end caught there. All the way around. Stopping at the corners, turning, make sure you've got it in that left hand groove again, the piping. All the way up to the final corner, put the needle down, and then just go along that final bit. Reverse. You only need to go along maybe an inch, inch and a half. We opened up the zip a little bit to make sure that we could still get in, so we can open it up fully now. This bit here you can just cut off. It won't. You can machine across it just to make it so that it never comes undone. I could do that with the piping foot on. Just go over it a few times. And I'm just going to get some scissors. Cut that end off now. Cut these ends off. And when we turn this through, we should have a perfectly piped cushion cover. Piping helps it to come out into a nice square. The final thing is just to give it a little bit of a press, get those corners out beautifully. And as you can see, it's looking, get it the right way up because that's the bottom, it's looking rather beautiful. Okay, so I finished all the cushion covers now. They're all beautifully piped, and hopefully that's been helpful to you today. And if you enjoyed it, then watch some more of my YouTube videos. That's Daisy in the background, by the way. Okay, thank you, bye bye.